Okay, everybody, welcome to the Season 13 Patch 13.1 Best Tier List for top laners. In this video, I'm going to be going through every single champion that can go top lane and putting them into a tier list. My tier list is arranged S, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Why did I put E? Because I started to think about it, and with only like 5 placements, without E and F, I'm going through 54 champions, so there's going to be 10 champions in each tier, which started to feel a little bit much. Even with this, there's going to be 7 champions potentially in each tier, so that's going to be pretty squished. Going through these tiers and telling you guys how I'm going to do this, S tier, in my opinion, is a champion that should be nerfed. A tier is a champion that might even be as strong as an S tier champion in a literal sense, but probably shouldn't be nerfed. They're just a top tier pick. So for example, a champion who counter picks everyone, who makes the game unhealthy, who's extremely cancerous as a second pick, that sort of champion I would put into S tier because they're completely dominating the meta through the pick ban process. Now, just so everyone knows, I did grind this season a lot. I was top 50 yesterday. I went to sleep. A lot of people grinded. Unfortunately, I had to sleep. I'm still top 100. I have 13, was it 13? No, 17 more wins than losses. This account was at a pretty low MMR starting the season. So 17 more wins than losses. I had to climb more than basically anyone else around me to reach this rank. So I've definitely been putting my games in to kind of learn this meta. Anyway, so S tier is a champion who must be nerfed. A tier is a champion who is very strong, but I don't think any of these champions could be nerfed, but I think S tier I'm going to reserve specifically only for champions that should be nerfed. Unlike other tier lists where S tier is always like the best champions go in S, I think the best champions go in A, and S tier will be reserved for only champions that are like extremely overpowered and kind of like dominating the meta. This is a very long-winded explanation, but because I'm doing it like this, I want to kind of tell you guys how I'm doing this. So I'm going to reiterate it once again. Sorry for going through. S tier is must nerf. A tier is top tier. B tier is fine. These are champions that are playable. They might even be a little bit overpowered, but other than that, they're fine, right? C tier is, yeah, they're fine. You know, they're pickable. They're playable. D tier is, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that or you're not really doing your best. E tier is, yeah, you're probably trolling your team. And F tier is, holy mother of God, if you're bot lane and everyone else doesn't carry you, the game's basically done. Now, we have every champion here. We have Aatrox, Akali, Akshan, Camille, Cassiopeia, Cho'Gath, Darius. Okay, you can see them. This is going to take me 3 hours to go through. There's a lot of champions already. So you can see everything here. If you want to fast forward through this video and get kind of like, if you want to like go to the end of it or anything like that, any champion I'm currently going over, I'll keep down here. As I continue to go over them, I'll drag them up. So do you understand that? So if I'm talking about a champion, if you want to fast forward through the video and you want to like see Karma, then wait till Karma's up here, because as I continue to drag these champions over, Karma will eventually be the #1 pick. Does everyone get that? Okay. So without further ado, and we're just going to start going from top to bottom. First off, we have Aatrox. Aatrox, I believe, is C, maybe D, but probably a C tier pick. He got nerfed really hard recently, and just so everyone's aware, going through this video, I'm probably gonna have to update this tier list for next patch, because they're doing a lot of item adjustments for next patch, but I just wanted to get one out for early in the season. We still have like 10 more days in this patch, so a lot of people are trying to think, you know, who are the best champions? And again, to be clear, I'm talking like I'm playing, you know, at the highest level right now. So I'm not playing, you know, Tweedledee, Tweedledum. Garen isn't going to be good here, okay? Just so everyone gets that. This isn't for things like silver or gold or bronze, anything like that, okay? I am doing this live, of course, obviously. So if you're actually watching this stream, put something over here if I'm doing something wrong or doing something wrong. But other than that, I'm gonna try to keep it perfectly fine so you guys can watch my videos. Anyway, Aatrox got nerfed pretty bad. He got nerfed pretty bad, and he got nerfed a lot. There's not really much to talk about. He's still Aatrox, but he just does everything he does weaker. He's not a bad champion, but he's not that great, right? So I think there doesn't really need to be that much explained with Aatrox. I think, you know, he was top tier for so long, and then he got nerfed really hard that it's like, yeah, you know, he's C tier. He's playable. There's nothing special about him. I don't think he's really that great, but yeah, I mean, he does better than some champions for sure. That's really all there is to talk about Aatrox. So for Akali, talking about Akali now, Akali's win rate is always low, but the thing about Akali is if you don't pick a counter pick to Akali, she sort of runs you down in the laning phase. If you do pick a counter pick, you can kind of nullify her laning phase. She doesn't scale that amazingly. Often in the late game, she can get poked out, or she can just be stun locked or stuff like that. I don't think she scales like really bad, but she doesn't scale particularly well. So Akali, I would say, is just sort of like a weird counter pick. She's not really that great or anything, right? That in effect in total, but she can shut down a lot of champions really easily. So I'm gonna put Akali in C tier because I don't think she's a bad champion. I don't think she really belongs in C tier. She's more of like a B, A, or S tier. But as you go up the ranks and as people get better, more and more people are willing to just sort of sack their laning phase to keep Akali down, and that's sort of what you do. You just sort of sack your laning phase. Deal with having a weaker laning phase. Now, in fact, I'm actually just going to put Akali in B tier. I think she is really overpowered, but in top lane as compared to mid lane, you can't roam as easily from top lane. You can just sort of let the wave crash into you on top lane, so it's a lot easier to nullify her laning phase. Akshan, due to the fact that next patch they're buffing ADCs, I'm actually going to put him in C tier. I don't think he's really that good right now. But with the ADC buffs coming up soon, and he's not really that bad right now anyway. So I don't think Akshan's really that bad. Not really. He's just not really that good. But they are buffing ADC items next patch. So I'm kind of like preempting next patch for this tier list. I'm saying like Akshan's probably more of like a C tier right now. He's not bad. He's not going to troll your team. So like if I go by my own ranking, he's not like D tier. He's not like, you're not trolling your team with Akshan, right? You're not. Not much more to say about Akshan. I mean, he just, you same thing as Akali, but just worse than Akali, right? Like you sack your laning phase, you let the wave crash into you, but unlike Akali, he scales kind of bad. All he can do is a lot of DPS. He doesn't really have anything special. He doesn't have like crazy mobility. He can't sneak into the backline and one-shot the ADC. So overall, there's just not a whole lot Akshan can do as a champion, in my opinion. So up next we have Camille. It cropped the image very poorly and kind of didn't show her face, but I assure you that is Camille. Camille, I would say, is extraordinarily overpowered right now. Yeah, that's all I have for Camille. Camille is just extraordinarily overpowered right now. She was already top tier, then she got buffed. There are some champions sort of keeping her down. The fact that Jax is so broken right now keeps her down. You can't really first pick her because Jax just gets picked and demolishes her. But the thing is, Camille is such a hard counter to so many different champions and basically doesn't have any real counterplay. She has really no weakness. All she has is an artificially deflated win rate because Jax is so overpowered right now. So if you exclude Jax and you only look at Camille, Camille actually, in my opinion, is just really, really overpowered right now. There's not really much to say about Camille. She was top tier and then she got buffed. So, you know, what do you want me to say? She was a top 3 pick, then she got buffed, shockingly, you know, now she's overpowered. Cassiopeia, I'm going to put in D tier. Now, I will say this for those of you guys who want to know how I did this. What I did is I went to Masters Plus and I just sorted by pick rate, and any champion in the top 54. I put the cutoff at the 54 because at 55 was Vayne, Maokai, and Sylas. These are champions that don't really go top, and I haven't fought them, and they're not really worth, in my opinion, ranking, right? So I put the cutoff at the top 54 pick champions. So a lot of these champions aren't even in the top 50 pick. I think Cassiopeia is really far down there, but Cassiopeia I'm going to put in D tier. She's not really as good as she used to be. A lot of champions have power creeped really hard. I think Miasma has definitely, like, Miasma keeps her out of E or F tier, just the fact that she can Miasma at her feet, but her poke is much weaker than it used to be. Doran's shield, second wind, is much stronger than it used to be. Well, I mean, not that they used to be. I mean, they used to not exist, right? You used to just not have Doran's shield, second wind. Now you do. So Cassiopeia is just not the giga lane bully that she used to be. She's still like good, but I don't think she scales as well as she used to either. So her laning phase is weaker, her scaling is weaker. I think in mid lane she does pretty decent still, not like amazing, but she can do okay, right? Like it's not, but in top lane I find that too often, yeah. So up next we have Cho'Gath. Okay, let me describe Cho'Gath in the best way possible. The thing about Cho'Gath, in my opinion, he's the one champion I fight where if I do not kill him in the laning phase, I think to myself, damn, I must have screwed up because I didn't kill Cho'Gath in the laning phase. He's horrible. He's absolutely mind-bogglingly horrible. Let me actually bring up, they did buff him a lot on the patch notes, and I was literally making fun of it because he's just so bad. So you can see here, they gave him more mana regeneration, they gave him more base damage and Feral Scream, they reduced his feast cooldown, they increased his feast damage against super monsters, you know, they did all this stuff, and it just, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. You can see here they reduced the cooldown on Rupture. It doesn't matter. He's a really, really terrible champion. I think what they would need to do to balance him out is basically to just give him like higher movement speed, or maybe like I'm not gonna go into what they could do to buff choke. Yeah, this isn't that sort of video, right? But what I'm gonna say is he needs a way to get his health back up or something. They nerfed his healing, they nerfed everything in the durability update for some reason, and he just doesn't do well. So I'm gonna put Cho'Gath in F tier because I do not think this champion is even remotely viable, not even slightly. Just absolutely terrible. Just literally probably one of the, probably actually, honest to God, one of the worst champions in the game right now, straight up. Darius, Darius isn't bad at all. Not at all. He's good, in fact. I think he's even a top 5 pick. He's got counters. He's got things you can do to beat him. He presses Ghost. He runs at you. There's not much to say about Darius. He's just Darius, right? He's a little bit overtuned right now for sure. I'm going to put him in A tier. I don't think he's quite S tier, but I definitely think he should be toned down a little bit. I don't think he's ruining the game, and I think he has a lot of counter picks. I don't think he can... you can't really safely first pick Darius, in my opinion, but getting counter picked by Darius sucks for a lot of champions. He's pretty powerful. He can just 5 bleed ult and kill most champions. He doesn't, like in the past, he would have to like auto you once or twice at 5 bleeds to maybe full health combo you. But these days, against a lot of champions, he just like, he gets 5 bleed and just instantly ults and kills you. So Darius is, yeah, he's doing pretty good for himself. There's not really a lot to talk about. Darius isn't really new to the meta. He's been meta for quite some time. There's nothing really bad about him. Dr. Mundo, I'm going to put in D tier. D for Dundo. Dr. Mundo is just, he's just really bad right now. They nerfed him because of the low ranks, and he just hasn't been performing well at the high ranks at all. He doesn't really do anything at all. He can just get to level 16 and then try to win at level 16. But the thing is, that's not really that viable of a strategy. And he's not as good at level 16 as a champion like Kale. So, like, if I wanted to take a champion and I wanted to get them to level 16 to be this Giga Scaler, you could do like a Kassadin mid, you could do a Kale top, but a Mundo? Why would you ever choose Mundo? For your level 16 Giga Scaler, why would you ever choose Mundo? It doesn't make any sense. And it's not like a team wants like 5 Giga Scaling champions, and he's not even that good to begin with. He's terrible. I don't think he's quite E or F tier. I think he's like, I can imagine a world where Mundo can win games. Like, let's imagine that, right? Like, there's definitely champions and there's definitely matchups where Mundo can do good. I just don't think overall he's good at all. In fact, I would say he's quite bad. For Fiora, I don't think this one's going to surprise anyone. They recently nerfed Fiora. She is still... Let me actually check this. I'm going to double check this just so you guys... I'm going to go to Masters Plus ban rate. Yes, at Masters Plus, Fiora is still the most banned top laner in the game. She is also... No, she's now the second most picked top laner after Jax. Ominous Jax noises. So Fiora is going into S tier. She counterpicks way too many champions. If you get counterpicked by Fiora, you basically automatically lose the game. There's no real counter to getting counterpicked by Fiora. You just automatically lose. There's nothing you can do. Her win rate's being artificially held down by the fact that Jace is like turbo broken right now. The Fiora, okay, so the meta right now is basically Jace is extremely good, but Jace loses to some champions. Fiora is broken as shit, but Fiora loses to Jace. Camille, I don't think actually Camille beats Jace anymore. I think it's Irelia. It's like Irelia beats Jace, but Jax beats Irelia, and then Jace beats Jax. And then it's just all these, the top meta right now is really bad. It's just a bunch of turbo broken champions that are being counterpicked by other turbo broken champions. Fiora is extremely broken. Again, there's just basically no counterplay. If Fiora gets picked, you lose. Gangplank, I'm going to put into A tier. Solid champion, in my opinion. Really no weakness right now. I don't think he really has that many hard counter picks. He doesn't scale the best. His laning phase can also lose now, kind of, after the nerfs. But other than that, I mean, you can't really beat him in the laning phase, not really. And he does scale pretty good. It's just his late game isn't literally the best. It's still really good, it's just not literally the best. Do you get it? So, Gameplank's gonna go into A tier. I'd like to see him toned down a little bit. All these champions in A tier could probably get toned down a little bit. Champions in S tier, I definitely think should be just like hotfix nerfed. Champions in A tier, they could be toned down a little bit, but they're not really breaking the game. Not really. Yeah, Garen, what are we talking about with Garen? Garen doesn't really do much. He's not that good early game. He's not that good late game. He's got a power spike in the middle of the lane where he can ult ignite people to death. But if he doesn't win on that, he tends to not do that much. He tends to also lose laning phase to other champions that outscale him. So even if you pick Garen, what frequently will happen is someone will pick a better scaling champion, then outscale you while beating you. There's just not a whole lot going on to Garen. I don't think he's quite E or F tier, but I would not like to have Garen on my team. Let's just say it like that. For Gnar, I have not really been impressed by either. There's nothing really about Gnar that impresses me at all. He got really nerfed and it's fine. I don't think Gnar should be buffed. I mean, maybe they could buff him a little. I don't know. I don't really think there's anything impressive about Gnar right now. He doesn't really do anything good. Every time I fight him, he can maybe kill me if I play poorly. But even then, even if Gnar kills me 90% of the time, like, I just get back in the game and beat him anyway because he's just not really that outstanding as a champion. There's not really much to talk about with Gnar. I think I'm just going to put him in D tier and forget about him. Not much to talk about. Gragas. Gragas is a solid counter pick to Jax right now, which is good. He's basically a solid counter pick to most melee champions, in my opinion. There's really nothing weak about Gragas other than some champions can bully him. I think he can get bullied by Jace and other range picks and then outscaled. But as a counter pick, he's really good. He doesn't really have many weaknesses either. And even if he does get counter picked, he can just chain heal off his passive to stay in the lane. He scales decently, so there's really no weakness there. I would like to see his anti-melee attributes get toned down a little. Maybe a little bit more base armor, and then like his body slam stun gets like reduced by a little bit. I don't know. Either way, he's fine, B tier. No, there's no real weakness to Gragas. Yeah, nothing's really bad with this champion right now. Yeah. As for Gwen, Gwen is a little bit... I want to say Gwen's a little bit overtuned right now. She just sort of stomps on tanks a little bit too hard. It's really frustrating dealing with Gwen. She's not really that popular. She's not really that good. She's just a counter pick who stomps people really hard. I'm gonna put her in B tier. Although I don't think she's as good as the other counter picks. The thing is, Gwen tends to counterpick people pretty hard. I might put Gwen in C tier as a counterpick, but I think she's better than like the other champions I'm gonna put in C tier. I think she's like a B tier pick. She's okay. You know, if you counterpick some champions, she can just shred them into the dirt and then scale well, but I would never really want to first pick her. And I think even as a counterpick, there's other champions who do it better. Like Fiora just is blatantly a better counterpick. Camille's just blatantly a better counterpick. So she doesn't really do much. There's just nothing special about Gwen right now, but I don't think she was made... I don't think from the very beginning Gwen was ever made to be a high-ranking champion. I think from the very beginning Gwen was fundamentally made to just be a low-ranking auto-attacker. I think Riot just accidentally made her really good at the high ranks for her extremely good team fighting. Yeah, nothing really... Yeah, I think she's like a B tier. She's like fine, but there's just much better picks. Alawi's going to D tier. Alawi's really annoying. Her hitboxes are really annoying, but there's not really anything special about this champion. She doesn't really do anything good. She's really annoying, and I don't think she's literally unplayable. I don't think she's like E or F tier. I don't think you're literally trolling your team. But D tier being on the lowest end of viability, I think she's on the lowest end of viability. She's just not really anything special. She doesn't really do anything good. She's easy to just play back and outscale. She's really easy to gank. I know you guys are going to say, oh, but if she gets ganked, she can ult. No, 90% of the time when she gets ganked, you just stun lock her and kill her in one combo, 2v1. So she just doesn't do anything. She also kind of scales poorly as well. It's just nothing. Irelia, I'm going to put Irelia up here. We're going to put Irelia into A tier. Nothing much to say about Irelia. She gets stomped on by Jax right now, which artificially deflates her win rate, but she is still extremely strong in the laning phase. Her E, if she hits it, it basically automatically kills every champion that doesn't have a block, like a Counter-Strike or a Shen W or anything like that. Like, if you don't have a way to just block out her damage, then she just sort of automatically kills you. Yeah, that's about it. Not much to say about Irelia. Once again, she's just sort of been A tier for years now, A or S tier. If Jax gets nerfed, she might be S tier, but maybe not. I don't know. They are nerfing a lot of her items next patch, so by the time they nerf Jax, she might not even be good enough. As for Jax, Riot decided he needed to do more damage early game. He needed to have more anti... Oh, right, everyone, make sure to like and subscribe and follow and do all that stuff. Thank you. Liking this supports me greatly. Leave a comment on all your thoughts. Okay, so we got Jax. I'm gonna put Jax up in S tier. They gave him more burst with his ultimate. He can now activate it and get that magic burst. Even if it's 150, that's 150 he didn't used to have. His Counter-Strike hits harder as well. So his 1 to 5 is better. His post 6 is more burst. There's basically no downside to the rework other than he can't like get hit by a ranged champion and immediately pop his ult. He needs to get into melee to pop his ult. That's his only downside. He's just extremely enormously overpowered right now. I'm just gonna preemptively, I'm gonna put him at, like, I literally think Jax is the best top laner in the game right now. The thing is, Jax is being held down by Gragas. He's being held down by Gragas and Jace, and he's still this broken. There are 2 champions that basically don't allow him to play the game, and he's just so overpowered, he can still just maintain the most picked, he can still just maintain that shit. He's just so broken. He's just so broken. Jace, I'm also putting into S tier. Monstrously overpowered right now. They decided to buff his damage. They decided to buff his damage. And then they decided to buff his damage. And he was already a fine pick. He just wasn't like Giga top tier. He was just a counter pick. So every so often, Riot does this thing where they buff a champion to be a Giga top tier champion instead of being a counter pick. And then shockingly, now that he's a Giga top tier champion, he's still a counter pick, but now he's good into everything. So unless you pick one of his counters, like Irelia, he just stomps over the entire game. I'm probably going to put Jace as, like, overall, like, up here, I'm probably going to have the ranking matter. Down here, it's just sort of like whatever. Like, who's better, Mundo or Alawi, Cassiopeia or Gnar? I have no idea. But up here, because I fight these champions so many times, I think that, you know, I have a good feeling for them, right? So anyway, Jace just got triple buffed when he was already fine. Now he's giga broken. I suspect competitive play will just be Jace against K'Sante every game. We'll get to K'Sante eventually. Did I put K'Sante? Yeah, I did put K'Sante here. So, yeah, I think competitive play will just be Jace against K'Sante forever. Because Jax can't get picked because he'll just get destroyed by Jace and Gragas. So then you pick Jace and then they pick K'Sante. Or maybe you pick Jace and they pick Irelia. But I think it'll probably be first pick K'Sante into Jace, like, every time. Or, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Karma, I'm going to put into E tier. I don't really think Karma's very good. They nerfed her Q cooldown and its AP ratio pretty hard. Gone are the days of Alawi, sorry, not Alawi, what's her name? Karma. Gone are the days of Karma just being able to spam the hell out of her Q to scale and win lane. If we actually look right here, her cooldown is now 5 seconds on her Q and has a 0.4 AP ratio. So the old top Karma that could spam Q, scale decently, and then just turn into a late game enchanter is gone. They nerfed her AP ratios pretty hard. Yeah, like, The shield AP ratio is down. The damage AP ratio is down. It's all down. Karma just scales significantly weaker. I think she's still fine as an enchanter, but like as a champion that needs to play top and then therefore turn into a scaling pick, she just isn't that good. So she's still really good bot lane. Her base numbers are still really good, but like as a champion you want to dunk gold into, you don't want to dunk gold into Karma, in my opinion. Kayle, I'm gonna put into like E tier, maybe D, but like I'm gonna preemptively put her in E tier. Kayle, I just don't think Kayle is just not very good right now. I haven't fought Kayle and actually been scared by her in such a long time. Every time I fight Kayle, it's not a feeling of like, oh man, she might outscale me and beat me. It's a feeling of like, man, eventually this is just gonna be really annoying. Like, you know, you're just like, man, eventually she will die. You just want to kill her. And that's how I feel about Kayle. It's like, I want to kill her. She just runs away a lot. She doesn't ever do anything. She doesn't ever kill me. She doesn't ever threaten me. She doesn't ever outscale me. Due to force in nature, you can always outscale her. But like, she's just annoying because she runs away a lot. That's it. That's her entire champion. I don't think she's literally trolling your team to death, okay? But she's certainly not that great right now. I don't think so. I might put her in D tier, but I'm going to put her in E tier because it's funnier to me. Kennen, I'll put in C tier. Kennen he's annoying. He's one of these champions. I call them the automatically win lane, then get outscaled category. That's Quinn, that's Kennen, that's Heimerdinger, that's a lot of these champions. They automatically win lane, you can't do anything to beat them, but then they get outscaled. So you just play safe, you grab a Doran shield, you play back. They're very annoying, and Quinn and Kennen are like, automatically winning lane is good, it's a good thing to do, but their follow through isn't very good on it. I think other champions have better follow through. They're just not very, I'm not very intimidated by them. When I see Kennen, my thoughts aren't, oh no, it's Kennen. My thoughts are, oh, it's Kennen. Because I know I'm just going to have to play safe for 15 minutes and then I'll outscale them. Kled has a new build that's interesting, but I'm going to tentatively put him in D tier. I don't think he's like E tier. Like if I fight Kled, I don't literally troll myself to death, right? Like if I fight Kled, I don't literally think, wow, this champion is so bad, I can do whatever I want. But I just don't think Kled is very good. He's not unplayable, he's just not good. He's just bad. He just isn't good. There's not much I can say about this one. He's just not very good. There's nothing shocking about this. There's nothing weird or upsetting. He's just not a good champion, right? Does everyone get that? Nothing more to say. K'Sante I'm going to put into S, but I actually am going to shock everyone by saying I think he's like the weakest of the S tier picks. I think he's certainly very good, and I think he should be nerfed. I have said a lot of ideas on how they should nerf K'Sante. Unlike a lot of these other S tier picks, I don't think K'Sante like hard counters like half the roster or anything like that. It's not like you pick a champion and they pick K'Sante and you're like, oh, there's nothing I can do, it's K'Sante. But like with all these four, if they counter pick you, you're just like, okay, like I literally can't play the game now. Like if I'm playing Olaf and they go Camille, she will shield through my shit, outrun me, always jump away from me, dodge me. Like there's nothing I can do. Like my entire early game is wasted. If I'm playing Camille into Jax, well, that's it then. If I'm playing like I don't even know, if I'm playing Mord into Fiora, she's just gonna run me down, right? Like it just, like, you see what I mean? Like all these other champions just render champions incapable of playing the game. K'Sante is certainly a very good champion, and I think he should be nerfed, but I think of all the champions that I think should be nerfed, that he's the weakest. He's a very solid first pick. He's a very good durable champion with basically no weaknesses, but he doesn't like render the game unplayable for you. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about K'Sante. He's just a solid. He's too good overall, I would say. He's S tier because he's just too good overall. I think they should really reduce his Q knockback, because his Q knockback into W into ult generates too much distance right now. I have a few feelings on that. I think that's the big issue, is that he Q knocks back, and then that pushes you back too much into his W, which then knocks you back into his ult, and he can maneuver you around a bit too easily. So yeah, Malphite, I'm going to join with Cho'Gath in F tier. I literally see no point to ever picking Malphite right now. He can't even beat Jax due to Jax's buffs. He can't beat Jace. He can't beat Fiora. He can't beat Camille. He can't beat Darius. He can't beat Gangplank, Aurelia. He can't do anything. He loses to every matchup. He's bad. Malphite literally only exists so that people at the low ranks can pick Malphite when they're auto-filled in top lane. That's his entire purpose in life. Oh no, I'm auto-filled in top lane and I'm a bronze player. Let me pick up the Malphite. That's it. That is his entire purpose in life. He does nothing else. That's literally it. So F tier, he's down here with Cho'Gath. If you pick, like, he's on this list, so he's definitely a top laner. I listed him more than Vayne, for example. I just think, like, if you ever pick Malphite, you're literally telling your team, okay, everyone, you have to carry me now. I picked Malphite. Everyone must carry me. I picked Malphite. The jungler will have to help me. I picked Malphite. Mordekaiser. I'm going to put Mordekaiser in C tier. I don't think he's good. I think Darius literally does his job better now. But he does counter some decent champions. He's hard to deal with this K'Sante. He's not bad. He's not literally unplayable, but like I don't really ever see a reason to pick Mord. I might just put him down here in D tier. There's like no reason, in my opinion, to ever actually bust out Mordekaiser. If you can think of any reason, there's a better champion for it. Literally name any champion, and there's a better champion into it. You don't want to first pick him, and you don't want to counter pick him, right? So like, there's literally no reason to ever pick Mord. He's not like unplayable. He's not like down here with Garen. I would say he's better than Garen, but he's not really good. Once you reach the higher ranks, he's just not very good. Nasus, I'm putting in E tier. Nasus is really annoying. He's here with these other champions, right? He's just really annoying. He doesn't do much good. He's just really goddamn annoying. He's just frustrating to fight. He's just an annoying piece of shit. That's it. That's his entire thing. He's just annoying. That's his entire defining attribute. He's just a really annoying piece of shit. Oh man. Olaf. Okay, so Olaf I think is a good counter pick to certain champions, but overall I think he's a bit too nerfed. You can't really, you can try to first pick him, but like then you just get slammed by Camille or Fiora or Jax. He can do really well into certain champions. Right now he's doing well into K'Sante. He can smash down certain champions like Gangplank, like Darius, but if you first pick him, you run the risk of, oh, you first pick Olaf and then Akali just shreds your asshole in two, right? So I'm gonna put him up here with C tier, but he's probably like, I want to say tentatively he's like the best of the C tiers. He's just not very good. I might even put him in B tier. I don't know. He does counter some meta picks, I guess, but he's just not very good. I don't know. I think B tier is probably better. Just his ability to counter K'Sante does make him a lot better, I think. K'Sante's good, and K'Sante keeps getting first picked, and then because K'Sante gets first picked, Olaf gets counter picked. That's where all his win rate and pick rate is coming from. K'Sante's probably the safest first pick right now. So you pick K'Sante, they pick Olaf. And then that happens over and over and over again. They pick K'Sante, you pick Olaf. They pick K'Sante, you pick Olaf. That happens all the time, and he's got a decent pick rate off it. Ornn, okay, I'm going to throw everyone a curveball on this one. Here's my actual opinion on Ornn. I think Ornn is E tier right now. Maybe even D tier. Definitely nowhere near anywhere good. I think Ornn's pretty bad right now. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put Cassiopeia in E tier, and then I'm going to put Ornn in D tier. That's probably better. Cassiopeia definitely can still counterpick some champions, but I just literally see, it's unlike, like, I just don't see Cassiopeia ever. No one ever plays Cassiopeia. And if you did, my thoughts would, I think she's certainly annoying. I don't think she's literally trolling your team to death in F tier. Maybe not. Let's keep Cassiopeia in D tier. I'm putting too many champions in D tier, but Ornn is just bad. Ornn is just really bad. He just does nothing good. He had a bug. I'm not going to go into the bug, but he had a bug that was artificially increasing his win rate this patch. Since that bug got fixed, his win rate has already dropped He's already down to 50%. He'll be 49%. Then he'll be 48%. He's not good. He's not a good champion. I'm sorry to say, everyone, Ornn is really bad right now. I don't think he's good at all. He's probably like one of the best at D tier, I'll say. Probably like of the D tiers, he's probably like the most viable. But every time I see Ornn, I just see 300 gold that I need to beat really hard to get. I don't think he can ever beat me. I literally, anytime I fight Ornn, I literally don't think he can ever kill me. All I think is, man, this punching bag is really durable and it's going to take me a while to get that 300 gold out of him. But I will get it eventually. Pantheon. So... Pantheon I'm also going to put in D tier. I know I keep putting people in D tier. I'll try to split this up at the end of this video. I'll try to split it up a bit more fairly. Pantheon is just not good right now. He's okay. I definitely think maybe should Pantheon be C tier? He's like a threatening champion, but no one actually wants to ever play him. I think that's his biggest issue. No one ever actually wants to play Pantheon. I think D tier is probably good enough for him. He's like, if you get a counter pick on Pantheon, he can kind of kill his opponent then roam. But even if he kills his opponent, he gets outscaled. And a lot of champions can actually beat him or at least go even with him in the laning phase. Or at the very least, he's not so strong that he can just run them down. I just don't see really anything Pantheon does. Like, I think a lot of people are bad at playing him. And that's kind of why I want to put him in C tier. I think a lot of people are bad at playing Pantheon. That's what I think. I think a lot of people are just straight up bad. And when I fight some good Pantheons, I don't think he's good. But when I fight good Pantheon players, I think to myself, like, man, other people played this champion really bad. But I think D tier is probably a bit better. I'll probably go back and try to adjust it so it's not so D tier heavy. But yeah, I just don't think Pantheon's very good. In fact, I think Ornn's probably C tier. He's probably like the lowest C tier. If I just hate Ornn because I don't get it, man. He's just bad. But yeah, for Pantheon, I think D tier's fine. I think some people just don't get him. I think people don't get him. They don't know how to play him. They don't know how to snowball. I don't think he's a good champion, but I think if you were good on Pantheon, he'd be like a B tier. But your average Pantheon player is like an F tier. So I think I compromise and say he's a D tier. Poppy, I'm putting in E tier. There's not much to talk about with Poppy. He's bad. He's really bad. He doesn't do anything. She doesn't do anything. I literally see no reason to ever pick Poppy. She's just down here with these other champions. Yeah, they can win the game. Yeah, they're annoying. I don't think you're literally trolling your team to death in F tier, but I don't really see any reason to ever bust out Poppy, ever. She does nothing outstanding. She does nothing good. I just don't really ever look at Poppy and think this champion is good. I just think she's annoying early game and then she falls off and then she doesn't do anything. That's it. I think if they increased her base stats a little, maybe like her health per level by a little. Maybe if they gave her like 5 to 10 more health per level, she'd be good. So she would scale a bit better. But Quinn, I'm gonna put Quinn in maybe B tier. I think Quinn's underrated because no one wants to play her. Like, I don't think anyone actually wants to bust out Quinn because then they're a fucking Quinn player. But she consistently has a pretty decent win rate. The ADC is getting buffed next patch. I think I might put her down in like C tier though. She's not as good as she used to be, but the ADC buff patch is definitely going to make her better. There's not much to say about Quinn. Yeah, there's not much to say about Quinn. I haven't fought her that much, and when I do fight her, I don't think she exerts the pressure. Like, if I was to pick a champion for top lane to be one of these automatically win lane then get outscaled champions, I would probably pick Quinn. I don't know. Quinn or Kennen. Definitely not Teemo. Definitely Jace as a whole, because Jace is Jace. He's broken his shit right now. But other than Jace, like, it's a competition between Kennen, Quinn, and Teemo for these automatically win lane then get outscaled. I think Teemo or Quinn. I don't know. Kennen maybe? See, that's the thing. They're all just not really that good. They all do the same thing, really. I don't know. I'm just not that impressed by Quinn right now. I think she always does good, but not great. Renekton, we're putting in B tier. He always has a high pick rate because I'd say high. He's always like a top 10 pick, right? Because he can do okay. he does okay. He's fallen off a little. Maybe I should put him down here in C tier. C tier is probably a bit safer for him, if I'm going to be real with you. Yeah, C tier is probably a bit safer for him. But I don't know, like, this thing is, he tends to always have a lower win rate because he gets first pick. Like, people first pick Renekton, then he loses because you got first pick, then counter picked. So, I don't know, like, B tier, C tier, he always has a lower win rate than he should. Because A, people don't know how to kill with him, and B, people don't know how to snowball with him, and then C, he always gets first picked and then countered, right? So, I don't know, like, it's difficult to say. He's always decent, I guess. I'm gonna put him in B tier because I keep underrating champions. I think that's one problem I have. I keep underrating champions where they shouldn't be. Rengar, I'm definitely putting Rengar in A or B tier. I think Rengar's not as good as he used to be, but he's definitely an extremely powerful champion. He basically can't lose lane because he full heals every, what is it, 16 seconds. He bullies a lot of champions. He counterpicks a lot of champions. He rotates really well. He does a lot of goodness. I think Rengar is good. I don't think he's as good as he used to be. I think in the past I rated him at A tier maybe, but now I'd say he's like a B tier. He's not really blowing my mind. He's not blowing my mind. Not really. Yeah. He's good though. He's a solid pick. I don't think anyone complains about Rengar. I think in a patch or two he might be S tier. It's also kind of hard to say because here's one of the issues. Rengar is typically one of the most banned champions in the game, so it's actually hard to even get a feeling for him. You know what? I think I'm going to put Rengar in A tier, actually. The thing is, he just has such a high ban rate at the high ranks because he's actually just kind of really overpowered. He's like a really, really overpowered champion, but he gets banned because of the jungle. So then you rarely even see him in top lane. So, yeah, that's about all I can say for Rengar. Probably A tier is fair. I keep undervaluing champions. For Riven, we're gonna put Riven in A tier. I think because other champions are just way better right now, Riven can't really do much. She can't do much against Jace. She still counters Jax, but she can't really do much against Fiora. She can bully Kosante early game, but then she gets outscaled. She can't really bully Camille either. I played Camille into Riven, and my exact thoughts were, wow, this lane matchup is way easier than I thought it was gonna be. So in the past, I'd always put Riven into S tier, but I think until they adjust, because this patch is really poorly balanced, I think if they nerf Jax, because they definitely have to nerf Jax, I think if they nerf Jax and Jace and Kosante, I think Riven goes up into S tier then by default, but for now, I think she's down here in A tier, just because all these other champions are overloaded. Rumble... I'm gonna put Rumble in D tier. There's not much to say about Rumble. He's not unplayable, but I don't think he's particularly good. He's a champion. He's like, I would put him in the list of like automatically win lane then get outscaled, but like he doesn't do anything good. So like if I could have picked Teemo or Quinn or Kennen or Rumble, if I wanted to pick a champion who's just gonna harass you endlessly at lane and then get outscaled, why would I ever pick Rumble? Like, of every champion, why would I ever pick Rumble? I don't see any reason to do that. Ryze, I'm gonna throw you guys a curveball here. Ryze is currently viable in solo queue, and you know what that means, right? If Ryze is playable at the mid ranks and at the low ranks, what do you think is gonna happen? Yes, Ryze, I'm putting into S tier. I haven't even fought him, and I just know it's gonna happen. Anytime Ryze is viable at the low ranks, he is instantly an S tier giga broken giga pick. He is insanely broken. There's absolutely no way he's not S tier in top lane. It happens every time. Every single time. You can't avoid it. Anytime Ryze is viable, he's S tier. It's really, really bad balance, and I don't know what Riot is doing. They really need to adjust Ryze so he doesn't go from like Rises F tier, he gets all in. Oh, his items got buffed? Rises S tier, he's automatically a winning champion. Like, you know what I mean? It just, right, like, please, adjust his champion so he doesn't automatically win anytime he's viable. Okay. Sejuani. Sejuani I'm gonna put in an E tier. Do I put Sejuani in F tier? No. Do I? No. Do I? No. Sejuani's just not very good. The Sunfire change made it so you can't one item power spike on tanks anymore. And because you can't one item power spike on tanks, the Ignite Sejuani all in just kill you at level 3 and then get Sunfire and then scale really well. That just doesn't happen anymore. No one tries to do it anymore. I haven't even seen Sejuani in a while. She's just not very good. I don't rate her very highly. I never rated her very highly. And now, particularly with the tank item nerfs, I don't rate her at all. I think, isn't Sejuani one of the only tanks who didn't get buffed after the tank rework? So for those of you who don't know, after the tank rework, basically every tank got buffed, right? Didn't they basically all get buffed across the board? Except for Ornn and Sejuani, right? So Ornn went from an A tier down to a C tier, and I'm contemplating putting him in a D tier at this point. I think in all fairness to Ornn, I think he might be a D tier. But I'm gonna keep him tentatively in a C tier just to be fair, okay? Nah, Sejuani sucks. She sucks. Yeah, any tank who didn't get buffed, that's why putting all these tanks low. Any tank who didn't get buffed is shit. Even the tanks who did get buffed, I think are still shit. With no Sunfire, tanks just have no more one item power spike, and so many tanks were balanced on having a one item power spike into Giga Carrying. So like Cho'Gath was balanced on Sunfire Rush and then one shot. Malphite was balanced on Sunfire Rush, one shot. Sejuani, you guessed it, Sunfire Rush, one shot. Poppy just sucks. I don't think very much of Poppy at all. Set. Where do I rate Set? I'm going to look at his stats here real quick. I'm going to give my opinion based on his stats. Because the thing is, unfortunately, I play all champions at counter Set. So I don't have a good opinion on him. Let's see. Currently in Masters, he's got a 50% win rate. What about D2+? D2+ of 48%. That feels more fair. And at D+, he currently has a... Where are you, Set? Are you lower? Did I pass you? No, okay, Set 48, but yeah, he's bad. I thought he was bad. He's D tier. He's bad. Like, I'm sorry to say, Set's just bad right now. He gets countered by like half the roster. I don't think there's a single S tier pick he can lane against. He can't lane against Jax, Jace, Fiora, Camille, K'Sante. He can like beat up Jax and he can beat up K'Sante, but then at like level 6 they both outscale him. He can't. He can kind of beat Darius, sure. He can't lane against Rengar, Riven, Aurelia, Gangplank. He can't lane against Akali, Gragas. He can't lane against Olaf. He can't lane against Renekton. He can't lane against Gwen. What can he do? He can beat up Jax and K'Sante early game. He fucking sucks. Yeah, okay, no, okay. Shen. I'm going to call Shen an A tier. Yeah, I'm going to call Shen an A tier. Shen tends to not be popular, but he's quite good. I don't know, actually, yeah, I was about to say, Shen's probably not doing that great, is he? Shen is kind of balanced at like 52%, 52, 51%. I think, I'm going to put an A tier, but my gut's leaning more to B tier. The thing about Shen is that he tends to win games because people literally forget about his ultimate. A bot lane fight happens, the ping laner's like back. Shen's gonna ult, back. Shen's gonna ult, and then Shen ults, and then the bot lane wins the 2v2, and then their top laner gets fucking question mark spammed, and you're sitting there like, dude, I typed it out 19 times. Shen has ult, Shen has ult, Shen has ult, and bot lane's like, dude, how are we supposed to know? You didn't tell us, and you're just. That's how he wins games. So he tends to have a higher win rate, literally just off that. Literally, people just literally refuse to admit that Shen has ultimate, and then they die to him. But other than that, I just don't think he's like amazing. I don't think he's like literally. He's okay. He's definitely a solid pick. Of the B tiers, I might put him as the best. He's not very popular. He's not very popular. But it's definitely good. Yeah. Singed. I need to check where Singed is, but I know what ranking I'm going to give him. Okay, so he's the 23rd highest pick with a 51% win rate. That's a pretty good stat line, right? So Singed is E tier. He's fucking terrible. He's one of the worst. He's so bad. He's so bad. No, he's actually just so bad. I don't know, man. He is so bad. He's so bad. He's so bad. I don't have anything to say. I don't care what the stats are. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how you guys... I don't know how you guys are losing to him, but he is so bad. He's like Ornn. He's 300 gold. I just gotta figure out how to beat it out of him. He's never gonna kill me. I just need to figure out how to get that juicy 300 gold out of him. I need to strangle that 300 gold out of him somehow. I need that 300 gold. He'll never kill me. I just need to get him to die. Sion, I hate playing this champion, but I think it's fair to call him C tier at this point. I think he's... He's definitely playable, and as a first pick, he's not literally unplayable. He scales decently, he does okay, I just don't think he's that great. Like, if I'm gonna pick a scaling champion for top lane, why would it be Sion? Right? Like, if I'm gonna pick this, like, champion to scale into late, why would it be Sion? Of every champion, why would it be Sion? Right? Why wouldn't it be Ryze? Why wouldn't it be Kusante? Why wouldn't it be Jax? Why would it be Sion? Why wouldn't it be Gangplank, who can actually win the lane too? Why Sion? I think he's playable. He's playable, but I just don't particularly think he's very good right now. Tahm Kench, I'm gonna throw you guys a curveball on Tahm Kench. I think Tahm Kench is also C tier. I think his stats are low because I think people actually don't know how to play Tommy Boy. That sounds really dumb, but it's true. I think Tahm Kench is not good at all. I definitely think he could get a buff. But the stats for him are low because A, I don't think anyone is teaching anyone how to play Tahm Kench, and B, I don't think anyone actually knows how to play Tahm Kench. Every time I've played against him, people just don't know what to do. They don't understand how to play him. Maybe he's D tier. Maybe he's low C tier. I'll try to rearrange these stats. But when I played Tahm Kench, and I did personally play him the other day, and my exact thoughts were, this champion is not as bad as people make him out to be. He scales decently, he lanes decently, he can do the whole heal, shield, heal, shield, heal, shield. Maybe he's D tier, maybe, but he's not as bad as people make him out to be. He's certainly not down here, right? I don't think so. Teemo, I think Teemo's D tier. I think of all the win lane then get outscaled champions, he's probably one of the weakest. Maybe Rumble, maybe Teemo, I don't know. What would I say? I would say Quinn and Kennen are definitely the better automatically win lane then get outscaled picks. And then Rumble and Teemo are the worst. Jace is the best, but that's just because Jace is turbo broken right now. Kennen and Quinn, if I'm gonna win lane off a ranged champion then get outscaled, Quinn and Kennen are definitely better than Teemo and Rumble, right? That's what I think. Udyr, I'm gonna put in B tier. The reason this tier list kind of looks like this, by the way, I think they broke the balance pretty hard on this patch by turbo buffing Camille and Jax and Jace, refusing to nerf Fiora, well, a real nerf anyway, turbo buffing Ryze, releasing Kosante. All these S tier picks are just stomping on everyone. The A tier picks can kind of contend with them. The B tier picks can kind of contend with them. But like if you go below B tier, your champion just can't contend with these good champions. Like Renekton can sort of contend. Tryndamere can sort of contend, right? But like if you go below this, these champions just get blown out right now. I'm not saying like the meta is unplayable. I'm just saying that it's a divisive meta right now. It's a very top heavy meta, whereas in the past it would be like, oh yeah, you can pick, like in the past I might say like, oh yeah, Kled B tier because he counters Aatrox, right? But like right now you pick Kled, name me one champion he beats on this list, an A or B, sorry, an S or A tier. He loses to every single one of these champions, and not by a little bit. He loses really hard. So Tryndamere is going to be B tier. I don't think Tryndamere's that bad. I think he's playable. I don't know how good he is though. If I had to formulate my opinion based on how good he's doing in stats, see, if I have a mixed opinion, I try to go to stats. See, he's not. The thing is, Tryndamere tends to actually have a lower win rate and be balanced at a lower win rate, I've noticed. But I don't know. Tryndamere can contend, and I think if you can contend, I'll put you in B tier. If you can't contend, I mean, maybe I should put Aatrox in B tier then, just because he can contend. But Aatrox's win rate is abysmal. Like, for a champion who keeps getting picked, his win rate is abysmal. For a champion who's supposed to be beating champions like Kosante, who's supposed to be beating champions like Jace, he's getting gut to the ground. I just think he's just not very good. I'm sorry, guys. Udyr top? I didn't list Lilia, Vayne, and Maokai because their pick rates were so low. I also didn't list Trundle because he's not even showing up top lane anymore. People aren't even playing Trundle top lane at all. So he's not even a top laner anymore. Udyr I'm gonna put in E tier. I don't think he's very good after the nerfs. I think he's like, I don't think he's literally trolling your team to death, F tier. I just don't think he's very good. I might put him in D tier if there's too many D tiers, but like, why would you ever play Udyr? Of every champion you could play, why would you ever bust out Udyr? He's just really frustrating and he wins early game, but then he gets outscaled and he doesn't do anything. Is that me? Like, I don't think Udyr should go top lane because he's really unhealthy if he goes top lane. But people are still trying to pick him in top lane. And I fought against him the other day and I was just like, okay. Like, he's annoying. He's definitely better than Volibear. Like, if I'm going to play a tank top lane, like these kind of like Jugger tank things, Udyr and Volibear, if I'm going to play one of them in top lane, I'm going to pick Udyr, right? I'm not going to pick Volibear. But, no, I don't think Udyr is that great. Urgot? I don't know, D tier. I think Urgot's like rated higher than these people. I just don't think he's that good at all, truth be told. He's definitely very scary and he can definitely pull off some kills, but most of the time if you're dying to Urgot, it's because you've screwed up. He doesn't really have any tricks he can do to beat you, right? He's definitely annoying. I definitely don't like fighting him. He's frustrating. I just don't think he's very good. Yeah, I don't rate Urgot. Vladimir. My gut tells me to put Vladimir in C tier. He's got a lot of champions he can safely scale up with. He has a lot of champions he can do stuff against, but he's not really that good. I think in mid lane he can scale into the one-shot Giga build. But in top lane, I feel he has a tendency to get bullied out, need the jungle, require the jungle constantly coming back to fix his lane. I think he's like playable. I just don't think he's very good. C tier seems fine. He's okay. But yeah, he needs the jungler to fix his lane so he doesn't get ran down. He needs the jungler to help push his lane so he doesn't get it held. He needs constant jungler attention. Now, if they do give him attention, he can do fine. But like, if I'm playing Kosante and I'm holding the lane against Vladimir, right? Like, okay, he's going to need the jungle because I'm just going to continuously run at him every time he gets close to try to combo him. Yeah. So Vladimir, I'm going to put like C tier. I think he's much more viable in mid. In top, not so much. Did I use the wrong splash art for Volibear? Sorry, not Volibear, Vladimir. I originally, the Sejuani splash art was a traditional, like when you search Sejuani splash art, the traditional Sejuani one shows up first, which means that everyone searching for Sejuani splash art is just trying to look at the traditional one, you know, because it's much more revealing, and then Google's just showing that by default. So, Volibear F tier. Volibear's a troll pick. Deadass troll pick. Deadass troll pick. I fought him the other day. He could barely beat me early game, and then he got outscaled so hard he couldn't do anything. Deadass troll pick. If you pick Volibear, you are trolling. You're trolling. You're trolling. You're just trolling. Volibear equals trolling. Nothing else to say. Just a funny troll pick. Okay, so who do we have next? Warwick. What am I gonna rate Warwick? I've been considering B tier or C tier. The thing about Warwick is it's really easy to outplay him and force him into a situation where he has to spend all his mana pushing the wave. As a counter pick though, he can be really frustrating, and I think one of the issues is no one wants to play him because he's really annoying to play, because it's really hard to push the wave with him, it's really hard to manage shit with him. He's just not really that entertaining to play. Not really. Yeah, he's just not that entertaining to play, but I think he's good. He's not great. It's like it's a B tier champion. I'm putting him in B tier because like he can counterpick some stuff, right? Like he can definitely counterpick some things like Olaf. He can definitely counterpick some things like I think he does good into Kosante, right? I don't know. He's just really annoying to play. I would never play more than like 1 or 2 games of Warwick at a time, because then having to play more of Warwick would piss me off, because he's just a really annoying champion. Wukong, I'm gonna put in D tier. I know everyone goes into D tier, but D tier is sort of like the bottom of the barrel before you actually just straight troll your team. He doesn't really wow me right now. He's not blowing my mind. He's not great. He's not bad, but he's not great. I wouldn't want him buffed because he's a really dumb champion if he gets buffed. But I think he goes in the jungle now, which is much better for game balance. If he goes top, it's really bad. As for the win shitters, I'm gonna put Yasuo in C tier, maybe even E tier. I think C tier might be safer. Playing Yasuo top is really weird. I don't know why you would ever do it. In fact, let me put him in D tier. I think that's better. The problem with Yasuo top is if he doesn't level 1 and 2 cheese you, he starts getting really outscaled and then he doesn't do much. Yeah. It just if he doesn't level 1 or 2 cheese you, he just doesn't do anything. That's what I found lately. I think he's fine in mid where he can scale better and just rely on pushing the wave. But in top tier in top lane where the lane is longer and like you need to like deal with shit more often, I think definitely Yasuo starts to fall off in that category. So I played against him the other day and my exact thoughts were, ugh, this champion just doesn't do a lot. Yone, we're putting in A tier. Really, really good champion. A lot of people screw up on him and lower his win rate. They all in when they shouldn't. They die when they shouldn't. They do dumb stuff when they shouldn't. There's no reason for Yone to have a low win rate. Yeah, no, he's a solid champion. He can lane into a lot. He can do a lot. He can last hit from range. He can do a lot of tricks to get last hit. He can do everything. Yeah, he's a pretty solid champion right now. I don't think he's S tier, but no, I think he's actually honestly got A tier. A lot of people can play Yone and play him really well into a lot of different matchups, and yep. For Yorick, I'm gonna put Yorick in F tier. If you play Yorick, you're failing life. If you play Yorick, you're failing. You are failing life with Yorick. He's really, really bad. Like, you can die to Yorick and he still doesn't do anything. Honest to God. If you die to Yorick, I swear it doesn't do anything. Because what does he do? He doesn't do anything. Right? He doesn't do anything. Not really. There's nothing about this champion that's good. And once you get good at any of the champions you can play, like if you ever get good at any of these champions, you get good at Jax, Jace, Fiora, Camille, Kusante, Ryze, Darius, Gangplank, Aurelia, Rengar, blah blah blah. Any of these champions, if you get good at any of them, all Yorick is a punching bag. And all you do is you just combo him. He can't escape your combos, he can't outplay your combos, he can't run away from your combos. And so all you need to do is get good at your combos, practice them, do good at them, and then you'll just kill him. So like even Kosante, I was struggling with Yorick at first, and a lot of people thought that Yorick beat Kosante. But then once I like practiced my combos and you could just combo him, what did I do? Every time I fight Yorick, you just punt him through a wall away from his minions, combo him to death, and then he's dead. And that's it. He can't outplay it. He can't do anything. He's just a bag of gold. And he's like a better, like of all the F tier champions, he's probably the best. But at the end of the day, he's just a bag of gold. Zac, I believe Zac is actually doing fairly decent at top. I'm gonna be honest, I think I'm gonna put Zac, unironically, I'm gonna put Zac, okay, if I zoom in, it's too zoomed, but if I don't zoom out, it's like a little bit too zoomed out. I'm gonna put Zac in a B tier. I think he's a little underrated right now. I think a lot of people aren't rating him highly. Yeah, no, I think Zac is like, honestly, not bad. He's certainly frustrating, I think. He can definitely like combo kill you, but yeah, I think more people might pick Zac if other things happen. His current build allows him to just sort of one-shot people. And he's pretty good at scaling. So if I'm gonna pick a scaling tank, am I gonna pick Ornn? No. Am I gonna pick Sion? No. I'm gonna pick Zac. So I think like of the scaling tanks here, he's definitely the best. So as for the list, if I wanted to organize it now, I don't know if I want to organize it, but if I was trying to organize the list to have the champions ordered in where I think they really are, I think Fiora is the best, period. Then Jax, then Jace, then actually I'm gonna put Ryze as the best. Just because Ryze is always the best. Ryze is viable, he's automatically the best champion in the game. Automatically the best champion in the game. Every single time. So I'm going to put Ryze as the best top laner. I've never even fought him. I just know it's going to be true because it happens. Over 13 years, it's happened probably 20 times. Every single time Ryze becomes viable, he just, best top laner in the game. Every single time. So I'm only going to say Ryze, then Fiora, then Jax, then Jace, then Camille, then Kosante. For down here, maybe like this. I think this one's fair. So down here, I think it's probably Aurelia, Riven, Gangplank, Darius, Rengar, Yone. For B tier, this one's gonna be a bit tougher. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, the lower down the tiers you get, it's hard to say which champion is better, right? So I'd probably say Olaf is the weakest. Maybe Zac, maybe Warwick. Shen is definitely the strongest. Then probably Akali. I think Gragas is probably better than Gwen. Then Renekton. I think a Tryndamere goes in front of Renekton. Maybe. Then that's probably good. So I think that's probably fair. For C tier, Oh, this is where it starts getting a little bit more complicated, right? So if we're going down into C tier, is there anyone I think is better? I think I might, do I move Set up to C tier? I think I might move Set up to C tier. I don't think Set's as bad as these other champions, now that I'm really looking at it. So Akshan's probably one of the weakest. Ornn's definitely the weakest, now that I'm looking at it. So it's probably Aatrox, then... Ooh, Cyan's pretty okay. He's like, So maybe Aatrox, Mord... Aatrox, Cyan, Mord... No, I think Mord's probably better than Cyan. Quinn's probably better than Kennen. Tom Kench is definitely down here. This is probably good. Maybe? As for D tier, let's think here. Oh, see, this is where it gets like impossible to actually rank these champions now, because like I have no idea who's better, Wukong or Kled. Well, I don't know. I never really thought about it. I don't know. I'm just gonna. Jeez, I have no idea, man. Maybe Mundo, then Garen, then Pantheon. Kled's probably better than Gnar. Illaoi's probably better than Kled. Illaoi's probably better than Kled. Kled's probably better than Gnar. Teemo's probably better than Rumble. Urgot's probably... No, I don't know. Wukong's probably better than them. Yeah, I mean, that's probably fair. I don't know. It's like really hard. You can't really rank people down here anymore because it's just like... Who's better, Rumble or Yasuo? I don't freaking know. I'm not gonna rank the E or F tiers. It's just impossible. There's no way to do it. So I'd say that's probably a fair tier list. If you want to see this for yourself, I'll put it down in a comment. But I think that's probably a fair tier list. This is for season 2023 patch 13.1. This is after the hotfix, but they might do another hotfix later on. I don't know. So this is for this day. Next week, or sorry, 2 weeks from now, it'll change again because they'll patch again. I'll probably have to do another tier list then. But for now, I think this is actually a pretty fair tier list. So make sure to like, make sure to leave a comment on your thoughts or any of that stuff. And yeah. Special thank you to my Patreon members. You can join my Patreon by going into the link in the description below. That helps me to make stuff like this immensely. If you subscribe to my Patreon, I thank you immensely. Special shout out to my YouTube members. Thank you guys for all that and being here. Thank you anyone who just watches this video and gets to the end of it. I hope all of you have a great rest of your day.